This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock, joined by John Brummett on this President's Day. Happy President's Day to you.
And to you.
Who's your favorite president?
I think Trump.
No.
He's been excellent.
Maybe for column fodder.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Abraham Lincoln and Franklin Roosevelt. I think you asked me this, if we'd go to the archives, you asked me this last President's Day.
I'm going to see if it's changed.
I think it's the same.
You said Trump last time?
No, Trump was my opening joke. Lincoln, traditional, Lincoln, FDR, and the first, George. Those three.
Do you remember who I said my favorite president was?
No.
Because it hasn't changed.
Who?
You just mentioned him, George Washington, my favorite president, the first president.
Yeah.
He had the most to navigate there at the very beginning.
He did, and there's a historian's argument, and I think Gary Wells and other so-called intellectuals have made it, that he really is underrated, that being the first is a big deal, that he defined the office. So yeah, George, Abe, FDR.
You're there.
Donald.
All right.
The Donald
It's
and his
new Mount
wall.
Rushmore right there. So from John Brummett's perspective.
Right.
All right. Late last week we had a national emergency declared by President Trump. I'm not sure if it was a national emergency because of our southern border, because of Saturday Night Live's parody of him, or perhaps a coup at the FBI. Can you tell me why we are in the midst of a national emergency? It doesn't feel like we're in the midst of a national emergency.
First of all, just to be clear, this is a point I've made before. He said in the course of his news announcement, I don't have to do this, but this is an emergency. I mean, that's what passes for logic and linear thinking and, in the Trump era. The emergency is that he had his hat handed to him by Nancy Pelosi, and she had lost support in his own party on his signature demagoguery, which is a wall from sea to Gulf. And he's not going to lose. He's all about winning. He and Charlie Sheen, winning, all about winning. And so he found a way to claim victory and say he's going to build his wall anyway. This is not new, but just to be clear, this wall thing is not in any remote way a policy fight. Democrats who are calling the wall immoral and we can never have it, have over the years, many of them have said, we probably need some barriers here and there. They just decided to resist Trump, that it was in their interest to resist Trump. Trump needs some images, some pictures, moving pictures on Fox News of some wall going up. That's what he needs. It doesn't have to.
I can't tell from his Twitter account, though, if you do read it, and that's where a lot of his followers get their information.
Yeah.
And some days the wall is already under construction, some days the wall needs to be built, some days the wall is going to be built. Where is it under construction?
No, I think there's some sections of fencing that are being repaired or expanded. As best I know, I'm not down there.
What's the point of all the confusion and all that, though?
I think there's no point to the confusion. I think our president is simply confused. I think he wakes up and every morning he is in a new world except for the fact that he needs to be the winner. And he does not have the kind of editor that we have in the media. I've had editors say to me over the years, this column is pretty good, but you said the opposite like 6 months ago. Well, then I'll go back and explain how my thinking evolved. He doesn't have to do that. There's nobody to edit him. This is all going to come to nothing, Roby. I'm riffing here. You want to ask me another question,
No,
or want me to
continue your riff?
Here's what's going to happen. This $8 billion, about half of it, not quite half of it, is actually money at his disposal. Drug interdiction money and stuff like that. He can legally use it. Now, not wisely. I don't think you'd want to use all your drug interdiction money on a wall that we probably don't need, but he can use it. The other half, depending on is money based on the national emergency, and he's going to be sued over that today or tomorrow or the next day. And he's going to be sued probably in various jurisdictions, including California. You know California's circuit court? Very liberal.
Right.
It's as good, he's as good as enjoined out there. What we're going to wind up with is some pictures. He's going to get some wall done. He's going to get the pictures on Fox that he needs. The Democrats are going to resist him and prevail at least at some basis in the courts and stop the other. And he'll have his wall pictures for his campaign, and Democrats will have their wall resistance for their campaign, and we will have undergone a couple of months of mighty nonsense for this. And it all is about the 2020 presidential race, and the wall will have nothing to do with the outcome. The outcome is whether the Democrats can come up with a candidate who's as good as John Doe. John Doe could beat Trump. The Democrats don't have anybody as popular as John Doe or as capable as John Doe who's at present running. And that's what it all comes down to.
All right, let's turn our attention to state politics. The governor gets his tax cut. It actually passed by a little bit bigger margin than I thought it would last week.
82 with several Democrats.
I thought he might actually have to take a one vote, see where he's short, and then go twist some arms, but he did not.
Yeah.
So that means highways primarily up next. Do you sense that there's any opposition or problems for this highway plan that's been rolled out?
I don't. I continue to be amazed, and I shouldn't, because I've been going out to the legislature for a long time, and highways are popular. You can easily, I've seen highway taxes passed. I've seen governors overridden when Clinton vetoed one for show. I mean, they just passed. People love their highways, particularly in a rural culture where you can bring home a wider road, bigger shoulders, safer roads, stimulate economic development. And the civic community's all for it. Everybody's banker, everybody's chamber of commerce, everybody's local officials want more money for highways because it gets turned back to them. The only hang-up was that bravely and appropriately and laudably, Hutchinson is proposing that one element of this be the legislature itself vote to raise motor fuel taxes and index them for the future, for changes in the future. Fortunately for him, that requires just a majority vote because as a wholesale tax, it's a new tax. And as Jim Hendren told you yesterday, it takes 18 votes in the Senate and they've got 22 sponsors. Pretty good math. No,
although I've seen sponsors peel off of bills.
I've seen sponsors vote against their own bills, but not. It's not. And I think they'll be achieved in the House. And then I think the general revenue money from the new sources is not going to be a problem. And the first constitutional amendment they're going to refer is the sales tax,
the
half-cent sales tax. So yeah, I don't see any great problem with it.
You don't think that those two, the motor fuel taxes, that wholesale tax on there, and the half-cent extension, you don't see those? In the past, those would be extremely problematic in a Republican primary in Arkansas.
Yeah, this is some things just don't make sense, really. You just have to say this is the way it is. But you've got a Tea Party born Republican contingent in our state legislature, all about anti-tax, cutting taxes, all about being opposed to big government. But the fact is, for a majority vote on making your highways better, making your bridges safer, yeah, and plus on the half-cent, remember, they're letting the people decide.
And even that has been a subject
of
controversy.
I mean, your Conduit and your Koch brothers, they're against it. So the purists on the right are but they haven't unseated that many, a few. So that's I think we're going to get all of it. And the other thing is there's no great lobby for the working man in his pickup who pays a disproportionate share of these. There is no lobby, and that's unfortunate. However, it is true that our I-40 cuts right across the state and is the east to west corridor for big trucks. And the only way we're going to get any more money out of those folks is to charge more on their diesel if they need to fuel up here.
The trucking lobbyists are supportive of this.
I think it's a decent program, a smart program, and it looks like it's going to be enacted.
All right, so that'll be the half-cent sales tax permanently will be one of the constitutional amendments that will be likely referred from the potential three that they could refer. I sense that tort reform,
I think it's a near lock.
Watered down is probably another one that comes out of there, which leaves one remaining. What would that one be, do you think? There's 44 other potential referrals that could come out.
I'm going to answer that without any detail. Don't ask me much follow-up because I haven't, okay. I'm not sure what's on it, but I am told that the favorite for the third will come from an amalgam or merging of or a filtering of 3 or 4 that are proposed to toughen the process by which we do initiatives and referendum petition efforts for ballot issues. Okay, I'm going to say something incendiary. Republicans don't like the people voting that much. They like the electors choosing their president. They don't like the popular vote. And they're a little bit irked about all these things that the people of Arkansas, when given a chance, pass. Higher minimum wage and marijuana and casinos.
By the same token, voter ID and potentially
Right.
tort reform.
And Leslie Rutledge is over here going through putting up all these hurdles and telling the legislature that this system needs to be reformed. Reform, maybe, but what reform means is, I think, and this is where I don't have the particulars, I think they're going to come up with a proposal that they'll say reforms this process that will have the real intended effect of making it tougher to get these things on the ballot. You got to get more signatures. You got to jump through more hoops to certify your
Shorter period
signatures,
of time.
and then you got to produce it on January rather than February. Rather than a few days, so many days before the election, you have to have a hard and fast date. All of that designed to make it harder for the people to govern directly. And I think that will be the third. If not that, here's what I was told. If not that one, I think it'll be those 3. Mm-hmm. But running 4th or 5th are, well, term limits and annual sessions. Not so much term limits. This idea to do away with the fiscal session and instead have set day annual sessions every year, it's not, I mean, I sort of recoil and go, oh no, not that. But there's logic to it. It's better to make laws closer to the time of their effectiveness, and it's better to be able to make laws more contemporaneously to the problems, rather than having to wait without doing special sessions. I don't think that will be proposed. I think it's the 3 that we've discussed, but I think that's the first runner-up.
All right, he's John Brummett. You can catch him all the time in the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Mm-hmm. Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Wednesday online.
Exactly.
All right, and with us Monday online.
Yes, if it's Monday, it must be me.
Good to see you.
See you.
All right, thanks so much. That's all for today's program. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas. Our 17 electric distribution cooperatives are working day and night to provide reliable, affordable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses, just like yours. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.